Hello. Today is like a very slow day. 今日係超級悠閒嘅一日啦。I didn't want to go out at all. 完全又想宅咗喺屋企啦。I studied Spanish in the morning. 我朝頭早温咗西班牙文啦。I had like a bit of translation work to do. 我做咗少少翻譯嘅嘢啦。And then because I have this like language exchange and free dancing class at night, like it started at 6 o'clock. 咁但係因為咧夜晚6點鐘開始就有唔使錢嘅語言交流同埋跳舞班啦。So I didn't want to go out too early. 咁我唔想太早出咗去，然後又唔知喺條街度蕩咁，唔知做乜鬼啦咁。So I didn't really want to go out that early and knowing that I will come back late. 咁因為我知道我今日會夜翻，我唔想咁早出去啦。And then it was also raining like almost the entire afternoon. 咁跟住然後又成個下晝都喺度落雨啦，又係落狗屎咁樣倒水咁樣啦。So I ended up was like kind of clearing my computer, sort of like reorganize a bit of my files and everything. 咁我就喺度執電腦啦，喺度即係整理下我啲 file 啊咁樣樣啦。And then 咁跟住咧 I have this hard disk with me for a long time. 咁我一路 keep 住有一個 portable 嘅 hard disk 好耐㗎啦。I know what is inside. 我知道佢入邊係咩嚟嘅。It's just one specific hard disk for one thing only. 咁佢係一個 hard disk 係真係得一樣嘢嘅啫。我知道係乜嘢嚟嘅。It was a play that I made in 2012. 咁係我2012年嘅其中一個作品。It's called WW2. 咁就係叫做戰爭女人2啦。The first W stands for war, the second W stands for women, so war women 2 because there were 2 of us in the play. 咁戰爭女人2係一個講關於二戰嘅故事啦，關於我阿嫲嘅故事啦。So it's a story about the World War II, and it's also a story about my grandmother. I had her recorded her own account of what happened during World War II, what she has experienced during the war. 咁我就揾阿嫲錄咗音啦，咁就講佢二戰嘅時候，佢仲係11歲好似係啦，咁10幾歲嘅時候，咁佢經歷嘅嘢啦，佢講返即係打仗嘅時候發生咩事啦咁。So by the time when I was doing the interview with her， 咁我同佢即係傾嘅時候，做訪問嘅時候，錄音嘅時候咧 ，those are stories that I heard for like a long time. Like I heard growing up, like because like that's what she told me, like when I was a kid too. 咁嗰啲古仔其實我聽過好多次㗎啦，因為我由細到大，咁佢都係講呢啲古仔俾我聽。But when we were doing the interview， 咁我哋即係做訪問嘅時候咧，it was really there was this sense of importance to really record it and have it documented in a way。咁對我嚟講係好重要，係去記錄呢件事啦，去將佢嘅古仔記低啦，用一個聲音嘅方法記低啦咁。And within 1 year she died after the play。咁唔夠一年，即係個演出唔夠一年，佢就走咗啦咁樣樣。And it became like the last show that she got to see I did。咁係佢睇我做嘅最後一個演出啦，係啦，係我最後一個，即係佢睇我最後一個作品啦。And it sort of like just became kind of like her legacy as well。咁都好似係即係記錄咗佢嘅人生嘅一小部分啦咁樣樣。So today when I was watching the highlights videos， 咁我今日睇咗2條花絮片啦咁。I still dare not like okay, the reason that I've kept this hard disk and I've actually never opened it, like I've never opened any files on it although I know what was in it。咁我一路都知道呢個 hard disk 係咩嚟嘅，我一路 keep 住係啦。咁就算走我都冇抌低冇剩，我一路都 keep 住，因為我一路都知道佢入邊係乜嘢啦咁。But I did not have the courage to open any files at all because it's a very important work for me, you know, like it wasn't like the perfect performance。咁因為個作品對我嚟講係好重要啦。雖然佢唔係一個完美嘅作品啦，係啦，佢甚至乎唔係一個好嘅作品嚟嘅，即係對我嚟講佢唔係一個做得好好嘅作品。But I just don't have the courage to watch it。咁我完全冇勇氣去睇 ，because it reminded me too much of my grandmother and it's so painful。咁因為係啦，就唔夠膽啦，因為阿嫲啦，係啦。And this afternoon actually when I was watching it，咁我晏晝即係睇花絮片啦 ，so it was just two highlights like。One was like about like 9 minutes and a half, one was like around 5 minutes。咁兩條花絮片，一條9分零鐘，一條5分鐘啦，咁樣樣。They weren't long， 佢哋唔係長片嚟嘅咁。And one of them like because at the time I recorded my grandmother and I used her sound in the play。咁我當時係真係錄咗音，錄咗真人訪問我阿嫲把聲，咁然後直接就將嗰個錄音就放咗喺個演出裏面啦咁。And in the reel then one of the reels actually like had her voice in it。咁其中一條花絮片裏面就有即係表演嘅片段有佢嘅聲音啦咁。The first second I heard her voice， 咁第一秒我聽到佢把聲嘅時候咧 ，I was like。This is not how I remember her voices. She didn't sound like this. Like 咁我發現啦，我印象中佢唔係呢把聲，即係呢把聲，佢把聲唔係咁樣。And I realized it was like 10 years, you know, like 咁10年啦咁樣樣。Like she actually will have left us。For 10 years in February this year， 咁其實今年2月就會係佢走咗10年啦。And a lot of emotions came up when I was watching the reels。咁我一路睇兩條花絮片嘅時候，好多情緒啦咁樣樣。And I have to give it to my friend 我要非常之讚賞我個朋友幫我拍呢條片啦，老飛啦。He really made it like the play was so good 佢令到個戲好似好好睇Well, I have to wait to see the entire performance. I actually haven't seen it. Like, I really haven't seen it. 咁我其實一路10年裏面我冇睇過嗰個片，咁我係需要睇翻個表演嘅，我係會開嚟睇嘅。So I decided that I will do it this week。我決定咗㗎啦，我呢個禮拜一定要開嚟睇。And I would like caption it， 咁我會加翻字幕啦 ，and then I will upload it to YouTube， 咁我會上翻 YouTube 啦 ，and so and I will share to you guys， 咁我會同大家分享啦，it's a really important work for me。我覺得呢個作品好重要啦，對我嚟講 ，and even though it's not perfect， 咁雖然佢唔完美啦 ，but yeah I like it， like 我都中意呢個作品嘅，係我中意嘅作品嚟嘅。So anyway， I also like really missed the time of rehearsals, like the days of rehearsals, to have to go to the studio to rehearse, to like this entire playmaking process. I miss it so fucking much。 我超級好撚掛住有戲排嘅日子啦，可以排戲由頭到尾真係做一個作品出嚟啦咁。So it sort of just reminded me this morning I really should just do it, you know, like I should do it again, you know。 咁提醒咗我應該就係要再做呢件事咯，係啦。So this is what I should be doing right now, you know。 咁我就係覺得我而家應該花時間去做嘅嘢就係 really sit down, write a script, and you know like and just find a way to rehearse and make a play, you know。 咁即係我就覺得不如正正經經坐低，我哋即係寫個戲，然後排戲，跟住揾個方法去做戲啦咁樣。So this is something I would want to do in 2023。咁所以2023年就想要做嘅一件事就係排一個新嘅戲。So yeah，let's do it。咁我哋就係啦，決定咗啦，我哋今年就要排一個戲。And this hairdo， 咁我今日咧而家紮咗孖辮啦。It's because like this is exactly the same hairdo I was having in my rehearsal. Like while I was watching the reel, like I was having this hairdo in my rehearsal. 咁我其實排戲即係當年排戲嘅時候係咁樣紮住條孖辮喺度排戲咁樣。咁 And I was just telling my friends I can still rock this hairdo today, like the same hairdo. 咁我就同啲朋友講，我完全可以梳翻呢個髮型喎。咁 so like that's what I do today。咁於是我就決定咧，今晚我哋就紮住呢個孖辮讀書啦咁樣。Another thing, I went to this free dancing thing tonight。咁我今晚去跳舞啦咁。And then I met this guy who was born in New York, but his mother is from Sunshine, so he also speak Cantonese。咁我就遇咗一個係喺紐約出世，咁但阿媽係喺深圳去紐約嘅男仔啦咁樣。咁佢都識講廣東話 ，so we're speaking a little bit in Cantonese。咁我哋就用廣東話傾咗陣偈啦咁樣樣。And then he asked me like how old I am， 跟住佢就問我幾多歲啦咁樣樣。So I asked him to guess， 咁我就叫佢咁你估下啦咁樣樣。And then he guessed 26， 佢就估26歲啦咁。So I asked him how old he is， 咁我就問佢你幾多歲啊咁樣。And then he told me he's 27， 咁佢就話我知佢27。So I asked is that why you guess like you think I'm younger than you? And then he said yeah。咁我就問佢咁係咪因為咁你就估我後生過你啦，即係咁跟住佢話係啊咁。and then he was like okay maybe 30，you know like 咁跟住話係咪咁你30啊咁樣啦咁我未到我 you know not 30 yet，you know like late 20s，you know 咁佢就話定還是未夠30啊咁樣樣。So we had a dance， 咁我哋跳咗隻舞啦 ，and then I told him， 咁跳完舞之後我就話俾佢知我幾多歲。And it's totally because of the hair color I think，and also like my genes。咁我覺得都係呢個亞洲人嘅 DNA 啦，同埋呢一個係啦，我又染咗頭髮啦，因為咁樣。So anyway，let's begin the reading。咁我哋今日正式開始啦。Read to Resist, Day 243。當閱讀也是抗爭，第243日。A Concise History of Hong Kong by John Mark Carroll。香港簡史，從殖民地到特別行政區，著者高馬可，譯者林立偉。The Reform Movement of 1894。By the end of the 19th century, Hong Kong was the only British colony with such a limited form of self-government. Although the Chinese community rarely questioned the system, many Europeans believed that they deserved a larger role in running the colony they had helped build. In 1894, the Constitutional Reform Association petitioned for the right to elect British nationals as unofficial members in the Legislative Council, and for more control over the colony's finances. The British government, however, rejected this as poorly disguised attempt to gain power for Europeans. Secretary for the Colonies, Lord Ripon, formerly the Viceroy of India, argued that because Hong Kong had become a Chinese rather than a British community, and Chinese settlement formed the one main element in its prosperity, he could not sanction any representation that would exclude the Chinese. The Colonial Office also feared that giving in to any European demands would encourage the Chinese to make similar requests. Although he raised the possibility of appointing a Chinese to the Executive Council, Lord Ripon warned that granting representation to Europeans would mean giving more representation to the Chinese. 1894年的改革運動，到了19世紀末，在各英國殖民地中，自治程度如此低的就只有香港。儘管華人很少質疑這個制度，但許多歐籍人認為自己有份建設這個殖民地，理應在管治方面有更多參與。政制改革協會 Constitutional Reform Association 在1894年陳情，爭取有權選舉英國國民為立法局非官守議員，並要求對殖民地財政有更大的控制權。但英國政府不允，要求 認為這是毫不掩飾想為歐籍人獲取權力的行動。曾任印度總督的殖民地大臣李鵬勳爵 Lord Ripon 認為，香港已成為華人社會，而非英國人社會，而華人定居於此是這個殖民地繁榮的主要因素。因此，他不能批准任何排除華人的代議制度。殖民地部也擔憂，若順從歐籍人的要求，會鼓勵華人爭取同樣權利。雖然李鵬勳爵提及委任華人進行政局的可能性，但他警告，如果賦予歐人代表權，則須相應給予華人更大的代表權。Ironically, the 1894 petition for the constitutional reform ended up benefiting the Chinese community more than the European community. The Legislative Council was increased by one official and one unofficial member, but the latter was Wei Yuk, a comprador and entrepreneur appointed in 1896. In May 1896, Lord Ripon's successor, Joseph Chamberlain, ordered that the two unofficial members be added to the Executive Council. They were to be selected at the discretion of the governor from the unofficial members of the Legislative Council, and by consideration of personal merit, and with no reference to the particular class or race. A Chinese was not appointed to the Executive Council until 1926, but given how the 1894 movement for reform inadvertently benefited the Chinese community, the European community did not seriously mention constitutional reform again until after World War I. 反諷的是，1894年這次爭取政制改革的要求，其結果是華人得益大於歐籍人。立法局增加了官守和非官守議員各1名，而該名新增的非官守議員是1896年獲委任的賣辦兼企業家韋玉，又名韋寶山。1896年5月，李鵬勳爵的繼任者張柏倫 Joseph Chamberlain 准許行政局增設2個非官守議席，他們由總督自行從立法局非官守議員中選任，並應以個人優點為斟酌因素，而無需考慮特定階級或種族。雖然直至1926年才有首名華人獲選入行政局，但考慮到1894年的政制改革運動無意間令華人得益，歐籍人此後沒有認真重提政制改革，直至第一次世界大戰後。So this is the reading of today. 咁我哋今日就讀到呢度啦。So it's talk a little bit about like this racism thing and classism thing and how the European like finally get like bite back in their own ass 咁講少少啲歐籍人即係佢哋嗰啲種族歧視同埋即係階級嘅觀念啦。咁最後就係即係自食其果，咁就反而即係華人都係即係得益咗喺呢個政制改革裡面啦咁樣。It's very interesting like when they're talking about how Hong Kong being like the less like of all the colonies, Hong Kong was the one with like the least kind of autonomy, and which is so sad, right? 咁啊提到就係香港其實係當時即係英國嘅殖民地之中，即係最少自治權嘅一個嘅殖民地啦咁。咁你而家諗翻轉頭就真係超級可悲同埋即係都好可憐啦咁。So it's kind of like like Hong Kongers or Chinese in Hong Kong, they're so not into like fighting or struggling or politics, you know, like we've always been the people of kind of like stability and you know like for the development of economy, finances, you know. 咁好似即係我哋即係香港人啦，或者即係喺香港嘅華人一直以嚟其實對政治嘅興趣都真係唔大嘅咁樣樣，即係成日就係為咗揾錢啦，為咗即係繁榮穩定啦咁樣樣。So on the one hand, we blame the British colonizer。咁當然即係喺一方面我哋會即係都係會繼續即係責備呢一個嘅即係英國佬佢哋以前即係殖民嘅呢啲即係醜惡嘅事情啦咁。But on the other hand, they were kind of like over the years, I think there was kind of like a gel, like a connection between the colonizer and the colonizer。咁但係我覺得好似即係 喺即係經年累月之後，即係呢個殖民者與被殖民嘅人之間有一種嘅聯繫，或者有一種嘅默契喺度，即係 somehow like there was this kind of like very subtle power exchange in a way like the dynamic of it。咁我覺得即係喺嗰個當時嘅殖民者同即係被殖民嘅人裡面，佢嗰個嘅權力嘅關係係好微妙嘅，即係有一種嘅牽制喺度，係互相有一種牽制，唔係純粹係一個壓迫喺度。And so it's very interesting to read like how the colonizer were thinking about like the Chinese at the time, and also how they strategized in order to sort of like keep people you know, like subject to their control, but at the same time not too much that would cause kind of like a revolt。 咁你睇到即係英國佬喺香港嘅呢一個即係殖民嘅呢一件事上面，其實佢哋有好多嘅考慮，同埋即係點樣去控制嗰個即係唔係純粹高壓，點樣都會考慮到要即係去同即係啲華人嘅社區建立某一種關係，即係點樣嚟抽取佢哋嘅好處，但係又唔俾咁多權力佢哋。And it was kind of like this sort of like very interesting interplay in it。 咁我覺得即係好有趣嘅 ，because like we know that like definitely in India or in Africa, like a lot of colonizers were like sheer force, like really like coming in, and then Europeans taking over, and then like really just like by force and by coercion they would be controlling the entire population。 因為其實你知道喺譬如喺歐洲喺非洲啦，喺印度啦，咁即係呢個佬落去嘅時候，其實係即係超級殘暴，立即就係高壓或者咁樣樣。So I think like there's a special thing about Hong Kong is like in the very beginning it was meant to make money for everybody。 因為即係香港呢個地方從一開始就係為咗揾錢嘅，即係搲銀嘅地方。So and it sort of like change a lot of attitude or mentality of how colonization works。 咁我覺得即係當時亦都改變咗，或者係即係令到大家去諗，即係所謂殖民嗰個嘅嗰個意義或者做法都好唔一樣。So I guess that's one of the interesting for me, like or my understanding of this history。 咁所以對我嚟講係即係喺度讀呢個書嘅時候，即係我會諗就係即係關於即係呢個歷史對於我嚟講，我會考慮呢啲嘢啦。咁 So anyway, this is it for today。 咁我哋今日就嚟到呢度啦 ，and we'll see you tomorrow。聽日再見，拜拜。